Good morning, everybody. Uh, Welcome to this particular class of organizational behavior in BTech second year. I am, in fact, I'm not taking this particular OB subject in this second year this time, but till last I was taking this particular course, and I think that now I should start my lecture on this transactional analysis. Little bit importance is necessary to discuss about this transactional analysis. What exactly transactional analysis is, we will start in few minutes. But before that particular lecture, let me look at the various aspect why you need to study transactional analysis. That is very important to understand. And when you see that X person is interacting with Y person, so obviously when X says something, so while saying something, X understand what Y think about X. If you can look at these aspects, usually it happens, say for example, if you go to your head of department's cabin, so sometime it happens before taking entry into head's cabin, you can assume, you can expect, you can anticipate the probable response of head against your question or query or problem. How to anticipate? That is the base gray area where this transactional analysis play. If some student is capable enough to sense that probable response outcome, it means the particular person is very good in understanding interpersonal relationship or interpersonal behavior. But at the same time, if the person is not able to understand the probable outcome, and without understanding this directly take entry into head's cabin, then it may be situation favorable. Sometime it may result into unfavorable situation. How to understand this probable outcome? That is main game of this whole topic, transactional analysis. In transactional analysis, what exactly we do? We try to make you learn that when you behave, when you interact with someone, what would be the probable response and how to control that probable response. And in your day-to-day life, in regular interaction in your family, in your friend circle, in your group, in your hostel group, in your batchmate, you can understand that how to learn others and guess or anticipate the probable behavior of that person. Because when you join any particular organization, a company, it will definitely very important to predict the behavior of your boss, the behavior of your peer group, and the behavior of your subordinates also. Because until unless you cannot predict the behavior of your subordinate group, it would be very difficult to understand the relationship building. It would be very difficult to understand how to control, how to manage that person who is either subordinate or who boss. So looking at these aspects, let us look at what exactly we will study in this particular transactional analysis. Sometimes it is also called interpersonal behavioral study, and in short it is also termed as a TA. You must be given in your handouts by madam about these aspects, 7 aspects, and we will also try to look at the 8th one, newer concepts related to transactional analysis. And these concepts are very clear, very well known to you. These are already given in your handouts. The first is level of self-awareness. So before expecting something, some response from someone, you must understand about your own self. And we will discuss this thing in this level of self-awareness. Sometimes it is also called as a Johari window concept. Johari window concept you can understand because the concept was developed by Joseph and Harrington, and ZO is taken from Joseph and Joseph, and Harrington HARI. So it is just like I think it is important to understand this concept. Second, we will discuss about the life positions. Third, we will discuss about the ego states. Then types of transactions, life script, stroking, games, and we'll look at others. So looking at this level of self-awareness, what we call as a Johari window concept. This concept was developed by, not exactly by the Eric Berne, who is attributed to this TA. In fact, if you look at that the genesis of this transactional analysis, you can understand that Eric Berne was basically not a scientist. He was basically a doctor, and while treating the patients, he was giving some input behavior to the patients and analyzing the answers or the responses, probable responses. And while doing this, he was able to understand, he was able to figure out some of the models, some of the common set of characteristics, and later on this was converted into TA, transaction analysis. There is a full length website on transaction analysis, and that is run by Eric Berne Foundation something. So you can also go to that transaction analysis website and get the detailed story and material on this transactional analysis. That is a very good, that is available by their foundation founders. This level of self-awareness, Johari window, they were studying, researching during the same period when Eric Berne was experimenting, and they developed this Johari window concept, which talks about that 4 quadrants are there, and those 4 quadrants I mention it as in form of arena, blind, closed, and dark. So these are the level of self-awareness about yourself, about your personality, about your information about you. And I have given this arena, blind, closed, dark because you can very easily remember as ABCD. A for arena, B for blind, C for closed, and D for dark. Arena self is the self which is usually also termed as an open self, and in this one the information about you is known to you, and information about you is known to others. Say for example, you are studying in BTech second year, so this information you also know, and this information others also know. So since this information is an open self, arena self, so with this information nobody can play game with you, right? So there are some informations which are not known to you about you, but others know it, and that become very sensitive. Say for example, if you live in a hostel and you live with your roommate, if your roommate come to know that how many rupees you have in your pocket right now, say for example 10,000 rupees your father sent you, and you are having 10,000 rupees, if this information is known to you, then it's good. This information should be in closed self. That means you should know, others should not know it. But sometimes it happens that you should know and others also know it. So this becomes dangerous. Why dangerous? Because the information which should be in this third quadrant, this information goes in this quadrant. So closed means there are certain information which has to be in closed self. Say for example, how many rupees you have in your pocket. If this information goes in open self, your roommate may pursue you to go to canteen and let us play, and enjoy something like that. There are informations which are in blind self, which you don't know. What are those informations? But others know. Say for example, when you appear in your examination, you don't know whether you can clear this exam or not. But your teacher who is teaching you, your mentor, your coach, your parents, they may be aware that what you are, your potential. So usually talking about the strength, talking about the weaknesses, talking about the potential, these are the informations about you about which you are blind. Others may know it. So when others know it and you don't know, say for example, sometime your father sends you some money, you don't know whether it is money or it is not. You don't know that your father has sent some money, but your roommate know it. So this becomes dangerous. So you should be knowing everything. Say for example, when you appear in GATE examination, your teacher may be knowing that you can qualify, but you don't know, because you are not very well, you have not analyzed about your strength and weaknesses. Rather, your strength and weaknesses are very well analyzed by your teacher or your mentor or your coach. Or say for example in sports, coach knows that what a player can do, but player is not aware about that, and coach update that thing. So that is why it is very important to understand that the information about you is in which particular self, whether you are aware or not. And this fourth is information not known to you as well as not known to others. This is a very zone where you cannot do anything. This is dark, but yes, ideal strategy should be to handle this arena open self strategically. Try to minimize this blind self. Try to handle with care this closed self, and obviously every time your effort should be to minimize this dark. So once you are aware about yourself, your strength, your weaknesses, your potential, your about yourself, it gives you confidence, it gives you boosting, it gives you courage to speak to someone, and this way it helps you a lot in interacting with someone. Second concept that is related to this is life positions. Life positions was also not developed by Eric Berne exactly, but during that, when Eric Berne was doing this, the associated person who was associated with Eric Berne, that fellow developed this particular study. You can get this detail on that transactional analysis website or blog. But let us, discuss about this. Life positions are basically an outcome of your life experiences, your life exposure, your life interactions till age, and that develops all your experience, exposure, and interaction, learning, that results in a particular life position. And this life position is not static, is basically dynamic. It keeps on changing. Say for example, today I say that BTech students, second year students are notorious. So this is my life position, that you are not okay. BTech second year students are not okay. But after some time, this life position may change. When you go in third year, you may start behaving in a very proper manner, and you become good. So my life position become that you are okay now. So this I and you represents the interaction of X and Y. If X interact with Y, so X means I, Y means you, the other person. So when X says something to Y, so when X says something to Y, what X think about that statement, himself or herself, whether the person is confident about that answer or not. Sometime you can understand a teacher come in your class and you very well understand within 1-2 minutes the life position of teacher, and you start bombarding the questions. Especially when new guest faculty comes in class, you students are doing same thing. But very next minute, you can understand that whether teacher is okay or teacher is not okay. Okay doesn't mean that physically okay. Okay is inclusive in every aspect. I am okay means I know it, I am confident, I am correct, I am right, and this gives positive confidence, positive synergy. And if I develop this kind of feeling that I am not okay, how you develop this feeling that I am okay and I am not okay? Say for example, I tell you that if two students, two friends appear in 10th examination, in a board examination, same time. Say for example, I name it, if Ramesh and Suresh both appears in 10th examination, Ramesh and Suresh both pass in 10th, both pass in 12th, both clear IIT JEE, then both will develop. Ramesh will develop, I am okay, you are okay. Suresh will develop, I am okay, you are okay. So both will develop this kind of life position because they are getting success in their efforts. So when your efforts are resulting into positivity, positive outcome, you develop this life position that I am okay. And if Ramesh pass 10th exam and Suresh fails, so first time Ramesh pass, Suresh fails. Next time Ramesh enters into 11th, Suresh again appear in 10th. Second time Suresh again fail in 10th, Ramesh pass in 11th. Next year Ramesh pass 12th and Suresh fails in 10th. Look at the life position. Ramesh will develop life position, I am okay and you are not okay, because it is relative interaction. Because Ramesh is getting positive result and Suresh is getting negative results. So Ramesh gets this life position is in himself that I am okay and you are not okay. And then Ramesh will try to give tips and lessons to Suresh. And on other side, the life position of Suresh will also become different. The life position after two failureness or negative results, Suresh will develop that I am not okay, you are okay. Look at this. Ramesh will come in this particular life position state and Suresh will come in this life position state. And these are the life experiences or exposures. Say for example, sometime Ramesh may develop, if all both friends pass, so they will develop I am okay, you are okay. If Suresh fails, Ramesh will develop in this life position and Suresh will come in this life position. Say for example, third situation. If Ramesh and Suresh both fails in 10th board exam, first time both fails, second time next year they again appear, again they fail, then they will start developing that I am not okay, you are not okay, and their nearby environment will tell them that see, I am also not okay, you are also not okay. So what interaction they will be talking about? There will be full of negative statements, negativity in their interaction. And if third year they appear in 10th exam and both fails in third year also, third attempt, then they will develop this life position, see, I am not okay, you are not okay, and whole world is not okay. And when both will interact with each other, so there may be results in form of depression, in form of tension, and in extreme cases, if 3 years, 3 times, 4 times they fails in 10th examination, so Ramesh and Suresh both can take some extreme decision, go to Ganga Barrage and take jump in Ganga. Looking at that, see, I am not okay, you are not okay, the whole world is not okay, so there is nothing which is okay. So you can very easily understand that how you develop this particular life position. So moving on next, we will look at that ego states related to one's position. These ego states are basically the outcome of your position, set of characteristics, the type of outcome behavior that forms a particular type of ego states. Ego state is not similar with the ego state in psychology, which is called id ego and super ego. These ego states are different, and these are, you can understand that there are 3 levels of understanding, and from that understanding about the stimulus or input, you can understand that how to give response to that statement or stimulus that is coming to you. And these ego states are 3 types of ego state you can understand. First type of ego state is parent ego state. Parent ego state does not mean that exactly parents, but it is a replica of the behavior and the outcome response of a parent in society. So it is kind of parenting. So parent ego state in a personality may be of 2 types. Sometimes it is nurturing parent ego state, sometimes it is critical parent ego state. Nurturing parent ego state try to protect others. So their response would be in form of helpfulness. They will try to help you. they will be sympathetic to you, they will be little bit protective, they will be caring. Sometimes you interact with someone and you see that whatever other person, the way the other person behave, the way, that way is helpful, sympathetic, caring. So it means the other person is in nurturing parent ego state while talking to you. Sometime other person is in critical parent ego state. It is called heartfulness, regulating behavior, evaluative behavior, instructive behavior. Sometimes other says, don't do this thing. And it comes in a very rude manner. But actually, someone said that don't touch the electricity, don't touch the plug, don't do this stunt on bike. So it does not mean that actually parent want to hit you, that person want to hit you. It is basically the parent ego state, and this critical parent ego state try to evaluate you and tell you what is right, what is wrong. So evaluating means the very clear cut difference in the right or wrong is made, and someone wants to make you clear that, see, look, this is right and this is wrong. So you must be very clear. It does not mean that person is your enemy or person is trying to hurt you actually. But heartfulness means it comes in a rude manner. It is not coming in form of nurturing or care, caring type of thing. So parent ego state is a set of behavior which is different, and you try to learn in interaction. When you X interact with the Y, you can very easily understand. We will discuss in transactions, we will discuss all these parent ego state. Second is adult ego state. Adult ego state is usually a behavioral response which is authentic, rational, reality based, which try to address with the reason. When you ask something, so all the question and answer session usually you handle from adult session, where a problem solving attitude is there, where a behavior try to look and investigate into the causal effect behavior, into the facts. So fact based behavior, reason, scientific, what you call in our society, there is a terminology called scientific temperament. Sometimes your scientific temperament or scientific bent of mind does not allow you to accept some statement. Say for example, when our Prime Minister talked about that our radars, I decided to attack in the morning because because of the climate and all, and the enemy's radar was not able to catch the frequency or signals into cloudy situation. So even I was surprised, and my scientific bent of mind, my scientific temperament, being a science student throughout, I was not able to digest this statement of even Prime Minister, because my scientific temperament was saying that, look, he is wrong, he is not okay. So sometime your scientific temperament, fact based, reality based, reasoning based, your behavior may not accept something which is coming. But yes, sometime your parent says something to you and you consider it just like parent. You don't put questions. Even your scientific mind, provoke you to ask something, to ask some questions. You have the curiosity in yourself. But considering that they are parents, sometimes it happens in your family itself. Grandparent says something and that is not very clear to you. So your parent says, look son, he is your grandfather, so do whatever he is saying, don't argue. So it simply means sometimes your adult ego state become active, where your everybody expect that it should not be parent adult ego state or parent ego state, it should be child ego state active at that point of time, and they expect that you should be in adaptive child ego state. Adaptive child ego state indicates that you are being trained to adapt. When parent says that you look, don't argue with grandparents, don't argue with parents, it means you are being trained to adapt. But it is not necessary that every time you accept everything you accept. So when you do not accept it, you may become rebellious. In some books, in some others, this child ego state is also termed as little professor. So you can understand little professor means, don't confuse with the professor, because nowadays today's professors are not very much creative or very much research oriented. But yes, little professor means I think that the little professor title is given as professors are very much into the new invention, and they don't believe easily what is being laid down by the society. They always try to look at why. So investigative approach. So rebellious child ego state, and this rebellious child ego state is available in every human personality, but many times it happens that your adaptive child ego state is dominating on rebellious, and sometimes your rebellious child ego state is dominating on adaptive. So rebellious child ego state, when someone says that, so say for example Ramesh says something to Suresh. Ramesh says that, so if Ramesh says something that eating chocolate is bad thing from parent ego state, Suresh can very easily reply from child ego state that no, you are wrong. Eating chocolate is not bad thing, it is good thing. So it is basically, there are personalities which always rebel, which always oppose everything what you say. If you say there is a day, they will say no, there is night. If you say this is good, they will say no, it is bad. So this kind of personalities you will find everywhere in the society. They always oppose you, and sometimes they oppose you from parent ego state, being a critical evaluative. Sometimes they oppose you from adult ego state. Sometimes they oppose you from child ego state, from rebellious child ego state. And natural child ego state is basically affectionate. See, when parents try to handle their child who is rebellious in character, always try to oppose, they always try to use this natural characteristic of your affectionate, impulsive and sensuous. So they put emotions into that. If you reject your parents' statement or parents' request, you say that no, I will not do it. So they try to again bombard with emotion. They will envelop their statement, their wording, their request, they will envelop into emotion. There will be a emotional coating over their statement, and then they will say, look, I am old and now I am not in position to do this thing, and you have grown up and now you should do this. See for example, the envelope, emotional coating of any statement comes when they want to provoke your natural child in you. They want to hit your natural child ego state in you. They want to activate this child ego state, because by default rebellious child ego state is active. So they change and they encode it. and this become very important to understand. Now we'll look at that types of transactions, actual thing. So we'll use that live position also. We'll use that self-awareness and ego states also. Look at, I'm just using example of interaction between teacher and students. Every person is having all these three type of ego states: parent ego state, adult ego state, and child ego state. All these three type of ego states. And if teacher interact with the student and teacher says something, teacher asks to student, where are you going? So teacher asks, at the time of asking this question, the teacher's life position is I am okay. Parent ego state is usually using I am okay, you are not okay, you may be okay. So they are asking, if student is leaving class, and teacher will definitely ask. So if teacher asks to student, where are you going? It may be that teacher will expect that student will be having adult ego state active at that point of time. Either adult ego state or child ego state. But student may have adult ego state active, child ego state active, or parent ego state active at that point of time, at the time of interaction. If the response comes, I am going to hostel, in a very simple manner, this is a kind of example of the parallel transaction or complementary transactions, and interaction will continue. Teacher may ask another question, why are you going to hostel during class? So student can give some reason for that, and that is why I say adult ego state active. Student can give some reasons, sir, I am having headache, or sir, I am having some problem, or I am not feeling comfortable. So teacher can give, student can give some justification, some reason, some fact, and justify, and teacher will take this as a parallel transaction, and this will be as a this is also called as a complementary transaction. So this will not be having any issue, and the transaction will continue, interaction will continue, and there would be cordial interaction or relations, no issue. But if something student is not having adult ego state active, that means student is not interested to give reason. This is possible because usually the parent ego state characteristic is that I am okay, you are not. Adult ego state believes that I am okay, you are also okay, because reason based. Child ego state may have I am okay, you are okay, I am not okay, you are okay, I am okay, you are not okay. So look at, all these three conditions are there. In child ego state, this adaptive child means I am not okay, you are okay, so you accept. Natural, sometime adaptive, sometime rebellious. So it depends what is the proportion of the emotions, affectionate or impulse or sense. But they are curious to know. Rebellious always say I am okay, you are not. So adaptive and rebellious are just opposite to each other. The adaptive child ego state is having life position that I am not okay, you are okay. Whereas the rebellious child ego state is having I am okay, you are not okay. Now, in between, there is a natural child ego state which simply says that yes, it depends level of emotion input, and I am okay, you are okay. It may be, or it may be I am okay, you are not okay, or it may be I am not okay, you are okay. So this become very easy to understand. Now, please mute your microphone. So now if another type of transaction which says that yes, if student is not responding from adult ego state, if a student is responding, receives that where are you going, now student give response from parent ego state. If student says that why, it is none of your business whether I go to hostel or I go to department or I go to anywhere, so it is none of your business. Student may change ego state in between and give this kind of response. Now in this situation, it is not a parallel transaction, it becomes cross transaction, non-parallel. In this one, teacher is having option to be remain in parent ego state and tell the student what is right, what is wrong, right? So teacher is having option to switch over to adult ego state, give response from this ego state, and try to justify the reason that how it is my business because it is my class. So this way, this interaction will not be a smooth one. This interaction will be crossed. Stimulus input and the response. The stimulus and response, S and R. Usually we represent this as a S, stimulus, and this as a response. So stimulus and response may not be parallel to each other, and this will create a communication blockage or communication barrier or communication stoppage. So after one statement, one response, second statement, second response, there are chances that after third or after fourth interaction, it will stop. So it may be that teacher use the parent power and says that okay, go out of the class and whatever, do whatever you want. So that means parent ego state is active, and that too in critical ego state, not nurturing. But if nurturing parent ego state become active at this point of time, so the parent can very easily say, look, your parents have given money and you should study in class, and it is your duty to study. That means they become nurturing parent ego state. Considering that nurturing parent ego state means I am okay, you may be okay. But critical parent ego state means I am okay and you are not okay. So they tell you what is right, what is wrong, and it depends. When they say that I am okay, you are not okay, whether you are in this position or this position or this position. Say for example, they say that I am okay, you are not okay, critical, do this thing, and your rebellious child ego state become active, which also says that I am okay, you are not okay, and parent is also saying that I am okay, you are not okay. So this will be a conflict with each other, and then the debate will start, and that would not be the smooth and cordial interaction. Look at the third option, in which the statement may be addressed to two ego state at the same time. Look at this. This is called ulterior transaction. When teacher says that students have become smart, so there are more than one meaning, and the target is more than one, and the student also, some student receives in parent ego state, some student receive in adult ego state, and even some student may receive in child ego state also. Adaptive, if adaptive child ego state says, so they can say yes, you are right sir. Some student may say that they try to understand the reason, the fact behind this. Student have become smart, so they want to analyze, they are curious to know the facts, the reasons behind this statement. And if you are in parent ego state, that means I am okay, you are not, and teacher is also I am okay, you are not. So in that situation, if you give response from this ego state, parent ego state, so you may reject this statement. When teacher says that students have become smart, you say no sir, you are wrong. Or you can say sir, how? You can ask question that sir, but how? How? It means you want to know reason. So it depends that from where you give response. And in this one, if you give response, some teacher are also smart. When you give response from parent ego state, they try to explain you adult ego state, this statement. Sometime when you ask reason, they try to explain this. But their meaning is there that in ulterior transaction, there is a statement which carry one hidden message and one open social message. This statement may be a social message that the new generation is smarter than previous generation. Fine, this is social message. But another hidden message may be that students have become smart, means they have become notorious, manipulative, calculative, they are not okay. So one indication of this statement is that students are okay. So teacher may be having life position that I am okay, you are okay, and teacher may be having another life position that I am okay, you are not okay. So statement is ulterior in transaction. So response may demand for ulterior. The student may give response from any ego state targeting the adult and parent both at the same time. So it may be like this and it may be like this. So this ego state may be moving in a different way. So this is third type of transactions, which is called ulterior transaction. Now moving on to some other aspects of this life script. What exactly life script is in your interaction? When we talk about, there is a one sentence from Shakespeare which is very common and says that all the world is a stage and all the man and woman are merely players. So they have their exits and their entrances. It simply means that life is just like a play, and there are some characters and they play their role which is already written in a script. So every character is written in script and given to the person who play the role. Life script is just like a life script which you have written in your early childhood stage. And in early childhood stage, look at that, at the age of 5 years, if someone had asked you that what you would like to become in your life, so usually you say I would like to become doctor, I would like to become pilot, I would like to become businessman. Now these script or targets which you give in response is basically a script that you write in your life. So if you have influence of someone who is doctor in your neighbor or society or in family, and you are influenced with the lifestyle of that person, so you will follow, you will try to become that. And the script is written unknowingly, and you would like to become doctor, then you would like to, to achieve this, you would study science, your focus would shift from arts to science, and then after 10th or 12th your focus will shift not from analytical science but to biological science. So you will not give more focus on mathematics, and you will start giving focus on biology. So to become doctor you will join medical coaching, and then you will join medical college, and then you will become doctor. Don't you think that it is basically a role that you have written in your early life, childhood stage, and you are playing the role? It is just like a script. You have to play your role, nothing else. It is a life plan which includes drama, emotion, your role, and everything. And these life, you have to follow everything. You have to play your role. Eric Berne, who developed this transaction analysis, says that a script is an ongoing program developed in early childhood under parental influence, which directs the individual behavior in the most important aspect of your life. So we talk about that, the parental influence, but I say that it is parental as well as society based. It is not necessary that you are influenced by your parents. Usually it happens, the son of doctor become doctor, the son of politician become politician, the son of professor become professor, son of laborer become laborer. I am not saying that son of laborer is influenced by their laborer father, but definitely in family, son of politician gets that ecosystem of lifestyle and get influenced by the parent. Sometime you are not influenced by parents, you may be influenced by someone who is living next to you, your neighbors who is pilot. Sometimes you are influenced by Salman Khan, and you try to build the body like Salman Khan, and then you write your life script, and you start going to gym, and you start physical exercise, and you start focusing on that aspect of life, and you start giving less focus on your education or study and these things. So it is basically a script that you yourself write at early childhood stage. So every person in his lifetime play three basic roles as a life script. If you say life drama, if life is a drama and you are playing a role, so your role may be prosecutor role, your role may be victim role, your role may be rescuer role. Sometime you become victim, sometime you become prosecutor who makes do's and don'ts, victim who become victim of that do's and don'ts, the rules, the guidelines, the legislations. Rescuer, your role may be that you are trying to save someone from those do's and don't do's. So the prosecutor may be legitimate or illegitimate, victim may be legitimate or illegitimate, rescuer may be legitimate or illegitimate. So my point is that if judge is passing some decision, so it is legitimate prosecution. But if any don is passing some decision, so it is not legitimate prosecutor. So you have your role. Sometime when you interact in your family, you say that your father is putting too much restrictions on you. So you say that I am a victim of my parents norms or norms, family rules, family system, culture, custom. So if you are suppressed in your early childhood stage, you may develop an active rebellious child ego state in yourself. You develop, say for example, a, a boy who works on a dhaba, 10-year-old boy of dhaba might be having the rebellious child ego state very much active as compared to 10-year-old boy who is studying in convent education school. And when you interact to that person, he will have the life position that I am okay, you are also okay, or I am not okay, you are okay. But the life position of a dhaba boy would be different. Dhaba boy would not be having life position that I am not okay, you are okay. Dhaba boy would have just opposite. I am okay, you are not okay. So that 10-year upbringing or the exposure of life gives them lessons, and then they develop a position, and then they become either victim or rescuer. So it is life script. Look at the stroking. Why we say stroking and what is the need to study stroking? Then it becomes very important to understand that stroking is something which makes make you feel that someone is saying something or someone is also present. And when you are not recognizing, say for example, Ramesh tells something to Suresh. Ramesh says, Ramesh, look, Prime Minister is doing very good job. Now Suresh is not responding. What Ramesh will do? Ramesh will try to hit Suresh with some statement which makes feel that Ramesh is also there. Ramesh will say, look, the Congress has not done anything in last 70 years. The moment Ramesh will say this statement, Suresh will give response. Earlier, Suresh was not giving response. So it is a kind of stroking. If some person is not influenced by your appreciation, your positive statement, so you change your statement from positive to negative, the person will be provoked and it will hit. I say stroking is just like, my personal opinion is that when someone strokes you, basically stroking is a everyday life affair. In the morning, your mother says that, wake up, son, it is already 10 o'clock. So what is this 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock is a stroking. You may get sometime different type of stroke. If you are not studying, your father may say something like you are duffer, you cannot do anything in your life. It is not that father actually mean it. No, father is not meaning it, but father is giving you negative stroke to convert you positive. Many times coach or mentor or teachers, they tell you that, look, you are wrong, you're duffer, you are weak, you cannot do it. So it is basically a negative stroking which aims to convert you positive. Sometimes you work with a positive, sometimes your teacher says, look, Ramesh, you are very good student and you can do very, you can achieve first position in class. So this can work. So what exactly stroking means? Stroking means an act implying recognition of others. When someone is not recognizing you, you make some act which imply recognition that yes, you are also there. Recognition may be positive or negative. It may be through physical, verbal or eye contact. Sometimes you are sitting in your house and your mother see you in a different style. So your eye contact, and as soon as you see your mother's eyes, you realize that something is wrong, and mother want to communicate something, mother want to give you stroke. It is basically this, the way mother sees at you is basically stroking. It is not that every time verbal stroking, sometimes it is physical stroking, hitting someone, sometimes verbal, sometimes eye contacts. On receiving stroke, we feel either good or bad. And actually, the stroke are meant to feel you good or bad. Sometimes stroke are made to feel you good because actually they want to make you bad. Sometimes stroke are meant to feel you bad to make you feel good after. So it depends what kind of stroke. If your father says that you cannot do anything, it is basically a negative stroke to make you positive. But when neighbor says that you are duffer, that does not mean that. So same statement, but meaning is different. It actually provokes you. Bring attention towards your intended one. Intention. So it is kind of provoking. It may be full of emotions. It may be simple without emotions. Positive stroke aims to make you feel I am okay. Negative stroke sometimes also aims to make you feel I am okay. If your father says that you cannot achieve this, you cannot crack this exam, so actually your father provokes you. Father provokes you and try to make your ego state active, life position active, which says that no, I am okay, you are not. I will prove you wrong. I will crack this exam. So that results in making you to feel I am okay. I am okay, I will do it. And I will prove you wrong. So it is sometimes negative stroke is also very important. Sometimes you feel relief from guilt when class teacher gives you, look Ramesh, you are duffer, you cannot do anything. Or when sometimes your class teacher gives you some verbal punishment, so you feel internally relieved from that. Look, now it's okay. So sometimes you get negative stroke if you expect that teacher will say this thing, and once teacher says that thing, so you become relieved from your guilt, from your act. So this becomes very interesting. Seventh aspect is psychological games. What psychological games are? Games are when you start playing with the ego states, when you start playing in interaction, and when you try to understand more and more people. Say for example, sometime your classmate or batchmate may say, look Ramesh, Suresh, you are looking smart today. So if once Ramesh says to Suresh, you are looking smart, so Suresh may not be able to understand what Ramesh wants to communicate. But if Ramesh repeat it, Suresh, you are looking smart, then Suresh tried to understand the ulterior transaction by Ramesh, double meaning, and tried to decode both the meaning, hidden message. Then Suresh tried to understand what Ramesh want to, and then Suresh says, Ramesh, you are playing with me. This is psychological games or games. So this become very important to understand. Psychological games are basically set of transactions with basically three important characteristics. One, transaction tend to be repeated. I say, Ramesh repeated that, Suresh, you are looking smart today. They make sense on superficial or social level. If Ramesh says that, Suresh, you are looking smart today, it does have a social meaning, and it does have a superficial meaning also. one or more transaction is ulterior. If this statement is ulterior, it is repeated, it means the game starts. If Suresh is capable to give response to Ramesh in same way, ulterior transaction repeat, and says that yes dear, I am becoming smart because I am doing something like that. Now again, this I am doing something like that is again double meaning, ulterior transaction. It may, if you understand from adult ego state, it does have a different meaning. If you understand from parent ego state, it does have a different meaning. If you understand from child ego state, it does have a different meaning. So whichever meaning you take. So if continuously ulterior transaction, repeated transaction is made, it becomes games. And when you play game with your classmate, batchmate, or roommate, or your friend, you develop a better understanding about your friend. You develop interpersonal strength. You become strong in your communication. There are some newer technologies which are also there, so we will try to take those one in some other class or time. So I hope that this has served the purpose of understanding transactional analysis in a very short lecture. Altogether, usually I take 6 to 7 lectures on that, but I have tried to complete it in within one lecture approximately. So thank you all.